Well, welcome back. Glad you're still with us. Of course, the show is Health Diary, and today it's all about jaundice. And I'm sure this is a conversation that is not new to all of us, but then again, sometimes we don't really understand the intensity, and especially when it comes to the complications of jaundice. Dr. Tatiana Mutinda, who is a pediatrician, as well as Lucy Wanjiru, who's a mom, here to help us really understand what jaundice is all about. So, Dr. Tatiana, just in case someone missed out on the first part where we were talking about how the first 24 hours are very, very important. And also when we talk about then the diagnosis for jaundice.
In the first 24 hours, like I mentioned about an incompatibility with mommy's blood and the baby's blood. So that is now what we call a hemolytic process. Okay. So that can be anything that breaks down your red blood cells. That basically causes hemolysis, which is now what we call the breakdown, can lead to jaundice. So other conditions that can lead to hemolysis would be even sickle cell. So you'd find this even in older children, from as early as even 6 months old, your baby suddenly has jaundice, and they don't have malaria, they don't have any kind of infection. You have now to look for other causes that can be now like sickle cell disease. So that, there's a special screening that we do. You just have to find out if there's any family history of that as well. So you have to ask both parents if there's a history of that in their family, because they could be carriers, not necessarily being affected themselves. Then the other thing, like she mentioned earlier, about inborn errors of metabolism. Yeah. So they're kind of a myriad of different conditions that affect certain enzymes in the liver. So the liver is where we break down, we detoxify and break down a lot of things in the body and help digestion. So different enzymes can be different kind of errors in the metabolic system. So these are usually genetic conditions that you're born with them. Okay. So those have to be screened also specifically for that. Then any other condition that can affect the liver. In school-going children, hepatitis A is very common, especially in boarding schools. So that's something that usually passes. So that's a good thing because your body is able to clear it out and it's able to fight it. But it's good to know that if you see that, have that checked as well.
And Lucy, again for you, we talked about, all this things that had to be done just to figure out what exactly is the cause, and we talked about metabolism,
inborn errors of metabolism.
Yeah. So was that like the direct cause for the jaundice for your baby?
It was a collection of many issues. He had inborn error of metabolism, he had the blockage of the liver, he had severe sepsis with a very high CRP of 98. The doctor can explain that one.
Interpret the numbers for
so everything, all of that could have caused the jaundice.
Yeah. So then, Lucy, at what point do you get help? Because phototherapy clearly was not working. So what happened next? What are some of the interventions that had to be employed?
So at 1 month, the baby is still in ICU. So we had to engage a gastroenterologist who came and prescribed some medicine for the baby, which eventually cleared the blockage, and the yellowness started reducing.
And how was the baby at this time, aside from, of course, the color, which you could clearly see, but was he able to feed well? Was how was he, like his general well-being at this time?
So initially the baby was not okay. He had stopped nursing. I had to express. He was on oxygen. And at some point, he was on the ventilator. After taking the medication, the baby started improving. And he surprised us. Yeah. He started nursing. Yeah, even the doctors could not believe it.
Understand what exactly was happening.
Yeah, I recall one day I shared to the neonatologist. And she told me, no way. Yeah. Daniel is not breastfeeding. I had to take a video of myself breastfeeding for the doctor to believe me. And that was it. Gradually, the baby was okay.
So then the approach. Because I think if it's one thing, you would know, this is exactly what is causing jaundice, and this is the approach that we're going to take, and the baby will be okay. But then here, it's like so many things are happening at the same time. So approach, when it comes to treatment, what does it look like?
From the medical point of view, so depending on the severity of the jaundice, so the level of the bilirubin usually guides us, and then the type of bilirubin increase. So is it direct or indirect? So when I say that when the direct is elevated, it points you towards obstruction in the hepatic system, the liver system. If it's indirect, it points you towards issue of breakdown of the blood, so something like hemolysis. So you now start looking at sepsis, looking at blood group incompatibility, looking at infections. Now you go in that direction. So depending, the levels will now guide you which way to go. So if it's the direct, you even do the scan, you see if there is a blockage or something, there's any growth, anything like that. Now you go in that direction. You don't do everything at once.
Yes.
You don't do everything
it's
at
too
once.
much.
It's a lot. It's
yes.
a lot. But even for us, we try to direct the test according to what we're trying to find.
All right.
So you don't do all the tests in the world. Yeah. You do specific tests, trying to rule out or rule in something.
Okay. So aside from medication, are there like other approaches that need to be sort of like explored when it comes to jaundice?
If it's a complete obstruction, so for some babies you find that biliary system did not form properly, so we call it biliary atresia. So that you can't do medication, you have to do surgery. So now they have to put in a kind of stent, which now creates that passage for the sludge, the biliary products to go through. Okay. So that is surgical now. Okay. That's now, you can't do medication for that.
You can't. Yeah,
that's surgical.
You have to go through the surgery.
Yes. Okay. And then if it's for the newborn babies, the normal physiological jaundice, we do what we call this phototherapy. That's now the blue light. So the baby is put under the blue light, we reduce the clothing, just have a diaper on, cover the eyes and expose them to the blue light. So that blue light
For how long?
So the levels are what guide you.
Okay.
So that blue light helps break down the bilirubin in your blood. So it comes out through your pee and through your poop.
Okay.
So that the levels are what now tell us. If it's very high, we actually do, you can even do after 6 hours, every 6 hours. If you don't have to do every 6 hours, you can do every 12 hours. Yeah. As it continues to gradually reduce, even every 24 hours. Then once you're below, there's a threshold that we have for different ages. If you're below the threshold, then we stop the phototherapy. Yeah. Then the other thing we encourage is breastfeeding. You must keep feeding your baby. Because when the baby is dehydrated, we also can't clear out that bilirubin.
That's true. And we talked about the whole aspect about the cost. And like you said, it can be expensive with several tests to run and, different treatment approaches. So were you doing this out of pocket or, did you have like insurance cover? Very quickly, because we need to end the show. And of course, what will be your call to action to, the mothers watching you and even to the healthcare providers?
So I would say that it is very costly. It is the desire of every mother to get a, let me say, a normal baby. Of course, mine is not abnormal, but when you get when it happens otherwise, it becomes so difficult for the mother and the family. I've spent a lot on the baby, bills up to 3 million. Yeah, all I can say is that the insurance would cater for it. But some we had to dig into their pocket. For the healthcare providers, they do a good job in saving those newborns. I have a special attachment for them. They really did a good job in saving my boy's life. Yeah. I would like to tell especially first-time moms, there's the clinic book, the ANC book. If I had read that book to the letter, my baby would not have gone through what he went through. It has all those ones about the jaundice, about the anomalies. Then if you notice that the baby has a problem, don't delay. Don't listen. They normally listen to the Facebook doctors. Do this, do that. Please run to the hospital. Yeah.
And Dr. very quickly, because I know we need to end this, but that aspect of peleka mtoto akautejua, especially asubuhi, very quickly, what would you say to that, to the moms?
So one thing, let the doctor be the one to tell you to do that. Come to the doctor. We'll do the levels, do the examination. If we see that that is what the baby needs, please listen to us. Do not self-prescribe treatment, even sunlight. And generally for all babies, they should also be in the sun. For vitamin D, all babies need that.
But what time? In the
morning.
Okay.
Sun.
In the morning. All right. So what will be your call to action, either to your fellow healthcare providers and of course to the government as well, as far as treatment of jaundice and the complications that can come about?
Oh, when it comes to these expensive tests, I don't say call on the government because we always call on the government. Yeah. But they are where everything starts at the end of the day. So we need a lot of support in the healthcare sector. It's not feasible to always rely on the private sector because it becomes unaffordable for the common mwananchi. Like even I probably can't afford private healthcare that I will also provide, but it's important for the government now to provide these tests. They have the financial capability, so it can become affordable for other people. And we have the minds, we have the people who are brilliant in these areas, but it's just that they don't have the support and the facility that they need for them to do these things. Because the doctors who are sending her to the US, they know that they need the test, but we just can't get it here. They know where it is, where they can get it, but they can't get it here. And our hands are basically tied. It's like this. We want to do the best, but we don't have everything that we need to do the best. We have the knowledge, yes, but we don't have the capacity in the country. So I would call on to the government, I guess, to just build up on us and support the healthcare industry. And we build up on the public more than the private sector. Because when we build up the public sector, everything now will come up from there.
Oh, absolutely.
Everything will come up from there.
Because the majority of the people will actually go to public hospital, not to seek for these services. But we hope that something will be done, for the same. All right, Dr. Tatiana Mutinda, pediatrician, as well as Lucy Wanjiru, who's a mom. We say thank you very much, ladies, really, for coming by today and, of course, helping us understand really more about jaundice, the complications, and what needs to be done. Well, time now for you to take a look at this health tip.
Itching is common, and the problem with itching is that many things can give you itching. You can have an allergy that will give you itching, online work, and now everything is on Zoom and this, that, and the other, and you are staring at something, your eyes get very, very dry. If you have eyelashes that are loose, that will give you itching, eyeliners and eye makeup, that will give you itching. So if you have persistent itching, chronic itching that doesn't end, the best thing is to get an eye doctor to have a look, because you want to treat the underlying cause. Especially if you swim a lot, get swimming goggles, because they'll protect your eyes. But if you're an occasional swimmer, you open your eyes in there, nothing much is going to happen. Except the people who really react to chlorine. There are people who really react, and so those ones, swimming goggles is a good idea.
Well, on that note, we have to say goodbye right here on Health Diary. And of course, I know that you have learned a lot from the conversation. My takeaway message is, especially for the first-time moms or moms in general, if you notice anything that is not usual, especially when it comes to your baby, you better go and get it checked at the hospital. All right. So my name is Winnie Lubembe. A special thanks to 4 Points by Sheraton for hosting us today. If you have more questions, our social media handles are down at the bottom of your screens. Until next time, adios. Tunaanza na intro ama outro?
Speaking Kiswahili. But you see the baby.
9 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.